up, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. It's Monday, so I'm going to do my mindful messages on Monday instead of all week. You're just going to get one a week. And I think with this eclipse stuff going on, I don't know where in the world you are, but everybody's going crazy about it. What can we do to prepare ourselves? If you think about the eclipse in a spiritual sense, eclipses bring a lot of awakenings. It is Mercury retrograde as well, so a lot of the karmics are going to be coming out of the woodwork. A lot of self-reflection and a lot of tower moments will be popping off over the next 2 weeks. So how can you prepare yourself, brace yourself? What do I think is going to happen? I don't rule anything out in the world. The world is so angry and turbulent and violent. I think anybody will use an excuse or an event to do something. So I think we always have to be mindful of that, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I feel like we have enough negativity and we have enough bad juju on this planet that I don't need to add to it. So I would suggest that if you have an event planned, I know that the baseball arena near me is doing like this giant thing where you can come and watch it. If you're going to a public event, just do your best to make sure you know your exits and you know your way out, and don't bring anything in there that's going to get you caught up in the line. You want to keep it moving so that you're not in problem areas. Other than that, I don't really think there's much that you can prepare for. If you are going to an event, things are going to happen. They're going to happen. I don't think that anybody should be living their life in fear, even though this world is very turbulent and dark. If everything you go to, you have that in your mind, what could happen to you, it's sucking the fun out. At the same time, you do want to have a game plan. So when you get there, before you even get to the event, make a plan. Be like, if anything happens, meet back here at the car, look up at the color, look at the street. If anything happens, just get yourself back here. I think those moments are really wise to have with your family. And you can just go over on your car ride there and then not talk about it. Be like, what would you do if there was a shooter? Would you hide? Would you run? Just getting your mind thinking about it. You would be surprised what you remember in a stressful situation. So Googling some things before you get there, like what should you do in an event of a shooter. I've been doing that myself when I go to concerts and stuff a couple days before, just to have it fresh in my mind so that when the panic sets in, I can be like, oh, I remember that guy on YouTube. He told me, to make myself small, don't be a moving target, zigzag. There's all different tips and tricks out there. I just think having it fresh in your mind will be helpful. But if you are somebody who has high anxiety, don't subject yourself to that, because then you're going to ruin your night. So if you are able to somebody who can compartmentalize things, do that. If not, just avoid the situation and try not to think about it and just enjoy the moment you're in, and don't allow the world and its darkness to ruin it for you, and just pray. I always carry crystals in my pocket. Black obsidian is a good one for all types of negativity and darkness. But you can find a crystal that calls to you. I wear a cross. Just, having religious artifacts on you, I think, helps calm you down in any situation. But let's talk about more of the spiritual awakening. So a lot of people who aren't or don't know they have psychic gifts, these kind of things can kick off your gifts. So you can start seeing spirits, you can start hearing things, and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm going crazy. No, it's the eclipse. Think about the moon cycles, right? When we have a full moon, the tides get messed up. You can have crazy weather on full moons, and that's just a full moon. But we're having a total eclipse, which means it can mess with magnetic fields, it can mess with tides, it can mess with your body, your mental capacity. That's why everyone's like, oh my God, there's going to be everybody going crazy, because there is that possibility of a psychological event. It's very rare, but there are some circumstances in nature that cause people to have some adverse side effects that wouldn't have been there had that, and eclipses are in there. So if you are a spiritual person, make sure you're saging, make sure you're wearing crystals on your body, make sure you're doing your return to sender, you're protecting your energy in this time. Evil is, in my opinion, on full moons and eclipses, I feel like evil gets a bigger pass on earth, as in more demonic dark people react to it. They have more of, it's like everything is heightened and kicks off. So anything around you that is negative, they're just going to become more negative. If you're around narcissistic people, I would avoid them in this time. They're going to be extra needy, extra. Any kind of anybody with like bipolar, I'm not like showcasing you as crazy. I'm just saying make sure you're on your meds. Make sure, I have manic depression and I gotta watch it during a solar eclipse because it does mess with my brain capacity. It does mess with my spirituality. And if you're aware of it, it isn't so drastic. Instead of sitting there like, why do I feel depressed all of a sudden? Why do I feel overly happy and excited? Why am I laughing for no reason? Why am I crying for no reason? These are actual things that can kick off a bit closer to the eclipse, but they can still happen. So if you're like 2 or 3 days out and your emotions are all over the place, just like the ocean, I feel like the fluids in our body react. And I know that seems crazy, but we respond to magnetic fields on Earth. Like, you can walk into a strong magnetic field and feel physically sick because you have minerals in your body and it's reacting. So the eclipse can do that. You are not crazy. You are not wrong to be feeling. I'm feeling a little bit of panic, but it's because everybody's making this giant thing of this eclipse. It's a big one. I would talk to everybody at Easter. Most people aren't going outside. You know, they're staying inside. They think something's going to happen, something crazy. And I feel like collectively we're going to manifest something bad because everybody's projecting like, oh, this could be the end of the world, or somebody's going to use it as an attack. I don't want you to add to that. I think collectively enough panic is in the air that it might actually manifest, and so I need you to start thinking positive so we can reverse it. I think it's a minute and a half where I am, but most places in the United States will be 3.5 minutes. So you probably are going to be dealing with it a lot longer in your area than I am, but the effects of it can start up to 3 days physically before and 3 days after. So watch your emotions. Make sure you're saging, crystal. Anybody who does dark magic, they are going to try to use this, so make sure you're praying for protection from your spirit guides and your ancestors. I'm a psychic medium. I have had an amp up of problems and helping people, and I'm really taking a step back during this time to protect my own energy. Now, granted, there's people in this world that need help, and not everybody can step back. If you're called to help. I have been called to help, and I have, but I'm being very picky about it because in this time, I feel like demonic things are being tricky. I'm a demonologist, and I'm telling you right now, if you are in a paranormal activity, it's going to be severe, strong, worse. This is the type, I get worried for the people in really demonic homes because this kind of energy can cause somebody to do a mass murder, suicide, or other horrific things to themselves. So I get very scared for the people dealing with demonic things in their home because an eclipse is a perfect source to amp up energy. So be mindful of that. If you are in a haunted place, I would suggest getting out of there if you can afford it, for the night of the eclipse and the day of the eclipse. If you can afford more, 3 to 4 days, because that energy is just going to linger. Anybody who has addiction, you're going to be triggered. Anger issues, you're going to be triggered. Be mindful of that. You can control it. As long as you are aware of what's going on, you are in control. When we fail to realize what the eclipse can do to us, mentally, physically, spiritually, that's when we're like, oh, what's going on? But be aware, for the next 2 weeks, things are going to be crazy. Protect yourself, your home, your energy, and your health and your wellness. and it'll pass just like anything else. See you next